Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the third and final wave of individually packed Masters of the Universe figures from Mega Construx. As you can see here, the wave is comprised of 5 figures. We have Manny-Faces, Trapjaw, Scareglow, Roboto, and Triclops. Now Roboto and Triclops are both sporting their color schemes from the original mini comics. For Triclops it makes sense, we had a Triclops previously in the Battle Ram set, but it's interesting that the first Roboto we're getting is in the mini comics color scheme instead of the classic toy line color scheme. I'm hoping that means he's going to be in a future set later on down the road in his classic colors, but we'll still get a look at Roboto here. We have had Scareglow before. I know he was in the Mega Construx Hero line before they decided to dedicate it fully to Masters of the Universe, and he does glow in the dark per the packaging up there. And then, of course, Manny-Faces and Trapjaw are brand new. So packaging is pretty basic. I mean, the front of it is very colorful. You have the classic exploding red rocks with the night sky. Nice picture of the figure here, bubble on card. And then on the back, it's just a very basic cardboard back with really nothing to script. So I'm not going to bother to show you the back of all 5 because they're all exactly the same. But I will show off this packaging real quick on the front here. And as you can see, it does say he glows in the dark, so we'll check that out. And then, of course, we have Trapjaw and Manny-Faces. So I'm going to go ahead, get all 5 of these opened up, and we'll take a closer look. So here are the 5 figures out of the packaging. They look pretty fantastic. We'll start over here on the left with Manny-Faces. One quick thing to point out, the bases are just one solid piece now. They don't require any assembly, and they just have the names printed on there. So pretty basic, but they get the job done. Taking a look at Manny-Faces, I think he looks really good. You can see he's got the normal face. He's got the robot face, which has a red visor. I kind of remember him having a blue visor when I was a kid with the original toy. So I'm not sure if that's a change they've made or if that was a paint mistake. I'm not really sure. And then you do have the monster face as well. Now, it's a little bit easier to see in person, but it is kind of sunken in there a little bit. It does kind of cast some shadow from kind of the dome that they all reside in. So it's a little bit difficult to see the entire face, but they still look really good. And the mechanism to turn them around is very easy to use. I love the color scheme. I think the blue and the purple really works. I've always liked his color scheme. Now, he doesn't have any head articulation, but he does have a hinge and a swivel here in the arms. You have a hinge and a swivel in the elbows. You have a wrist swivel. You have a limited movement back and forth in the waist. It doesn't go all the way around, but it can move a little bit. You have a ball joint in the hip, and then you have like a 90-degree bend in the knees. So pretty standard for Mega Construx figures. But he looks great. I really like him a lot. Happy to finally have Manny-Faces in the line. He looks very, very good. Next up, we'll take a look at Trapjaw. You can see he's got kind of a goofy expression underneath the jaw, but you do have the ability to move the jaw up and down. So you can push that far up, and then you can kind of move it up and down. His head's on a ball joint. He pretty much has the same articulation as Manny-Faces with the exception of the robot arm. It's kind of on a ball joint instead of a hinge and a swivel. And then the arm is one solid piece. Maybe that is still a hinge and a swivel. It's hard to tell. Yeah, it might still be a hinge and a swivel, actually. But it doesn't have any elbow articulation. You can see he has the gun accessory equipped right now. I can pop this out, and he's got 3 others to choose from. He's got this kind of clamp arm. He's got this giant hook. And then my personal favorite, because it's kind of ridiculous, he's got this fly swatter accessory. Now, I definitely don't remember the original toy having this. I'm wondering if he used it on the show or something one time and they included it as kind of like an Easter egg. Still really fun. But I think the gun is kind of the most classic one. Now, he does have spot holsters here on his belt to clip these in. But I remember the original toy, these all had kind of like a little hook that hung off the side so that you could put them in this loop. And these don't have that. So I don't know if I'm supposed to kind of stretch this out to get them in there, or how these are exactly supposed to clip in. But he does have 3 loops on his belt, so if you can figure out how to get these in here, he can actually wear all 3 of them so that he has all 3 at the ready. But he's very colorful, very fun. I love the blue, the black, the green, the pink. It's a great color scheme, very vibrant. And he's got kind of this like softer rubber plastic piece for this half a vest that he has here. So very, very cool figure. Lots of accessories for this guy. He's great. Next up is Scareglow. And we've had Scareglow previously, but this is kind of a darker purple than we're used to. Almost has a metallic quality to it that I really enjoy. I really like the look of this cape. It's almost giving me like Magneto from X-Men vibes. But a very, very cool cape. And you can see it's the same kind of purple down here on his boots. And then he comes with his classic staff. And he does glow in the dark. I'll show that off a little bit later because it's going to mess up my my lighting. But I'll turn everything off in a minute. But he definitely glows in the dark. It works really well, actually. And he's got all the same articulation as Man-E-Face's. I really like the head sculpt, though. He's got that crack of lightning there on the skull. Very, very cool. And the cape does peg into the peg hole in the back to kind of keep it situated. But yeah, he looks fantastic. Alright, next up we have Roboto. Like I said, it's a bit weird that we got the mini comic color scheme first. Unless there's a set that I'm missing that he was in, but I don't think so. But he still looks great. I mean, the mold is fantastic. The mouth can move up and down just like the original toy. He's got all the same articulation as the others. You can see he's got his gun blaster arm there, and we can go ahead and pop that off. And he also comes with the axe accessory, which we can clip in. And then he's also got the kind of like claw arm. So he does come with 3 different hands. I really like the axe and the gun. They're my 2 favorites. I'm going to put the gun back on for now. Now this looks like it has a large peg here. So I think you could actually peg this onto the back if you wanted to store one. So you do have that option. It doesn't stay in perfectly well, but it will kind of stay in there. But yeah, he's got some great detailing. You can see he's got kind of the same lower half as Man-E-Face's. Just kind of a repaint of those pieces, but still works. I think he looks great. I'm really excited to get a kind of normal color scheme version for him. Because this color scheme's okay, but I really prefer like the clear chest with the red and the blue. Now, I don't know if they'll actually do the clear chest because that might be too difficult to do at this scale. But even if they just kind of painted the gears on or something like that, I'm not sure how they would handle it, but he still looks pretty good. And then last but certainly not least, we have Triclops. And he's, of course, just a repaint of the one that came with the Battle Ram. He does have the 3 different eyes, as you can see here. He's got his classic sword. And he does have a loop on the back here that you can go ahead and store that in there, which I appreciate. I love when we have weapon storage. And that looks really cool. And this is just, if you're not familiar with the mini comics that came packed with the figures, that's what this color scheme is from. I prefer the classic toy color scheme myself, the darker green. But this lighter green with the pink is just such a wild color scheme that I think it's fun that they revisit it from time to time. So he looks really fun. I really like it. It's just such an absurd color scheme. So bright and kind of 90s, even though these came out in the 80s. It's just such a, I mean, lime green and neon pink is such a 90s color scheme. So this guy's definitely ahead of his time. So trying to show off Scareglow's glow-in-the-dark abilities, and I apologize because this is probably going to look fairly terrible. But you can see that he glows very, very well. I wish I had a black light or something because those usually really activate glow-in-the-dark toys, but just trying to create as much darkness as I can. He glows very, very well. Like, they do a really good job with this, and he looks absolutely fantastic glowing. So, very, very cool. I think this is a really solid set of figures, and I definitely recommend picking up all 5. Yes, we've seen some of these characters before, but I think the color schemes are unique enough that it's still worth picking these variants up. I really like the deep metallic purple for Scareglow. I just think it really suits the character, and I mean, the glow-in-the-dark function just works absolutely fantastically. I could understand if you don't really like the mini-comic color schemes for Roboto and Triclops, and like I said, I have not seen a regular color scheme for Roboto, so it's kind of weird that we're getting this first. Like I said, if there is a release out there that I missed, I apologize, but as far as I know, this is the first Roboto we're getting, and I think it's a little weird to lead with that, but I would assume that means that there's probably going to be the normal Roboto in his normal color scheme in a future set down the line. Now, the Triclops color scheme is just out there. Lime green and hot pink, but I kind of love it. It's just so ridiculous that I love it. You know, I don't remember reading the mini comics that much as a kid, and I definitely prefer the more classic toy color scheme because that's what I grew up with, because that's kind of what I had more exposure to. But it's just so off the wall here that I love having it here in this line. And these figures are small enough and inexpensive enough that it's fun to collect, you know, kind of variants and different color schemes for these characters. So I'm all about it. Now, Man-E-Faces and Trapjaw I think are absolutely fantastic. With Man-E-Faces, you know, I wish that it wasn't so hard to see the faces inside. They're a little recessed, and that does cast some shadow, which is a bummer, but the faces still look fantastic. I did notice the red visor for the robot face, and I kind of remember it being blue when I was a kid. I don't know if that was an intentional change or if just a mistake, but either way, it works. You know, I just kind of remember it being different from the original figure. Trapjaw's great. He does have the loops on his belt for the 3 accessories. It's hard to get them in there. You kind of have to stretch it out, but it is kind of a softer, more malleable plastic, so it is possible, and I do appreciate that he has the weapon storage. Roboto doesn't have the weapon storage for his, but at least they did include those 3 different arm accessories, because I feel like they're very iconic for his character. Now, I did mention at the beginning of the video that Mattel and Mega Construx has said this is the last wave for the individually packed figures. But they did make sure to say that there are going to be future sets. They're just kind of stopping this part of the line, which is kind of a bummer because it was kind of a fun way to get more characters out into the world and help us flesh out our lines here for, you know, the Mega Construx Motu stuff. But they have assured us that there are going to be future sets. I'm assuming they're going to start kind of more focusing on playsets and vehicles. And I mean, we all still need a Mega Construx Snake Mountain. So let's get that Snake Mountain, please. The Castle Grayskull was so fantastic. I definitely want a Mega Construx Snake Mountain. So please, Mattel, Mega Construx, if you're listening, please, 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 Snake Mountain. But in any case, this set's fantastic. I highly recommend it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.